Ladies and gentlemen, today is a joyous occasion. Anaxa moved to T0 in MOC. That's right. Anoxa is now T0 MOC, T0 Apocalyptic Shadow, and 0.5 for Pure Fiction. And I completely agree with this ranking. I do think Anoxa's weakest mode is Pure Fiction. Just because his bounce is AoE doesn't mean he's good for AoE, especially pure, because he doesn't get that much of an increase in damage for AoE versus single target, and because he's bounce, it only does like one hit per mob on field, right? So because of Anaxa's, to be honest, just not so high, own damage output, he simply isn't that good in Pure Fiction, but he is still good, right? He isn't great, but he's good, is how I should frame it. However, for Apocalyptic Shadow and MOC, this guy has been a beast, right? The other new addition is Archer. I don't think anyone should be surprised by this if you've been keeping up with the leaks. He is the strongest single target damage dealer in the entirety of the game, and single target damage dealers will always just brute force like MOC and Apox, especially the more recent ones, cough like Face Out. Right. Now, in my opinion, hunt characters do fall off probably the quickest because their damage output is really like top tier, like almost power creep levels on release, but they can't increase their damage against higher, amount of mobs. However, Archer will be fine, right? This is all like, thinking about 1 or 2 years into the future. Archer will be fine for a decently long time, right? I believe the only triple T0 DPS should be Cassie. Yeah, I guess it used to be Herta. They moved Herta down for MOC. I don't disagree with this. You can hate me for it. I am pretty confident Hypercarry Anaxa is just straight up better than any Herta team for current endgame. So I would not, put too much stocks into Herta. And then on top of that, Anoxa is less reliant on his light cone than Herta is on hers because of the skill point refund, right? So Prydwen, I believe, ranks with E0 as 0 in mind. Because of this, Anoxa wins even more because he is the closest you can get to an Amphorius character, giving you the full package at E0 as 0, right? Or at least DPS, I should say. Because if it's Amphorius characters in general, then you can say Tribby, right? Tribby is very, very strong at E0 as 0 because of her ability to abuse at DDD, so there is as well that. But DPS-wise, I don't think anyone is as good as value as Anoxa is for just putting one cost in and then calling it a day, right? Eggy is T0 in MOC, 0.5 in APOC, and 1.5 in Pure Fiction. I don't have too much of an issue with this. Maybe it's just because I haven't seen enough Aglaia showcases, because obviously I'm not going to look up a character I'm not interested in, but I'm actually surprised by the 0.5 in AS. I thought she'd be like a tier 1, but I guess not, right? Cassie, only triple T0, you already know it, right? She has Hyacine, she has Tribby, 2 sub DPSs that buff each other and the main DPS. The synergy is just really good with Cassie's team, right? Nothing you can really do about it. So Cassie is the best sustained DPS in the game currently, right? Down here we go into my day. The one Amphorius character I chose to E2S1 is the worst value Ampho character in the entire game. That does not feel good. Now, did I know this would happen? Honestly, yes. I kind of knew this would already happen. I remember when I was advocating for this guy to get buffs in his earlier versions, people were saying I was advocating for power creep, and then when he did get buffed, people were calling him insane power creep and the strongest DPS in the game. And now, it's just very clear that's nowhere near the case, right? Unfortunately, My Day is the weakest Ampho DPS, although that doesn't mean he's bad, it just means he isn't good, right? Next, we move on to Saber, who has the exact same ranking as My Day, but with slightly better pure fiction performance. And this actually does make sense, because if this was E1 My Day, I think he would be moved to like tier 1 or even T0.5 in pure fiction. But since it's not E1 My Day and it's comparing E0 as 0, Saber's AoE ult I believe is AoE, even though it's bounce. So this does allow her to be more viable in pure fiction versus a destruction unit who only ever does blast damage, right? So Saber's ranking I'm completely cool with, right? 100%. Next we have Herta. As mentioned earlier, she dropped down. Herta, in my opinion, it's crazy to say this, right? When Herta released, I believe a lot of people were in shock by how strong her vertical investment was and how free-to-play friendly she is, and she's still amazing, right? Like, I'm kind of over-exaggerating here because she is still double T0 in APOC in Pure Fiction and T0.5 for MOC, but this is just crazy to see considering just how much hype this character had only 4 patches ago, right? Yet now it's Anaxa, right? It's Anaxa's world and we're all living in it. Anoxa has better value than Herta, and a lot of people were doom posting Anoxa, including myself. I'm not going to try and lie here. I was someone who doom posted Anoxa, and it was mostly because a lot of the showcases going on for Anoxa and his beta were all sustainless, right? People didn't know how to play him correctly, and people were constantly playing him sustainless in every single showcase. It's kind of like a Phanon situation, right? But Phanon is way more doable and sustainless than like an Anoxa is because of Phanon being able to self-heal and remove all allies in his ult. So I really didn't like just how many sustainless showcases there were for Anoxa, right? And it made me think, oh, this guy needs sustainless, right? He absolutely needs sustainless to be able to shine. However, I do think that that's just not the case, right? I was proven wrong given the time, and Anoxa is an amazing, versatile character. And even his vertical investment, right? You may be fooled into thinking his vertical investment is the worst of any other Ampho DPS, which I can 100% see why. But his vertical investment also helps the team do damage. So if you ever want to pair this guy with like Tribby plus Hyacine, or like Cyrene Tribby plus Hyacine, where it's like triple sub DPS on the team, then you are going to get incredible value out of his E1 and E2 respectively, right? More than you could ever see in just it increasing his own hyper carry performance. So for that reason, I made a recent video calling him the best value DPS unit in the entirety of the game, and I still stand on this. He may not be the strongest, but he is the most versatile and the best at low investment compared to any of these other DPSs, except for Archer, okay? If you have Archer, and if you have Sparkle, then you can perfectly, fine run Archer with Sparkle and E0 as 0, and he'll probably zero cycle with Sustain way more comfortably than any one of these Ampho DPSs. But still, Anoxa offers incredible value. I truly think he is the second best pull, if not the first best pull for DPS. Second, I guess, is Archer. Oh wait, no, Archer is free. I'm stupid. Brain fart. My bad, right? So, yep, that's about all I have to really cover on It seems like they have an eye thingy on Silverwolf, probably to see if they move her up to T0. There is an eye thingy on Blade as well. I'm not sure if this is to move him up or move him down. If I had to guess, it's to move him down, though, right? Ruan May, Ling Shaw's down here in 0.5. Yeah, you know, it is what it is, the newest sustain. Ling Shaw was like this when she dropped to triple T0 for like nearly a year. Nothing you can do about it. And yeah, that's about all I have to really cover on the new additions of this Prydwen list. Saber is the most underwhelming of the Fake collab. This isn't surprising. I've been saying this the entirety of the beta. Saber just is underwhelming, right? Phanon doesn't even have his full premium team, so even if you aren't, you know, the #1 advocator of Phanon being T0 and MOC currently, the thing is, he just will be, because he is missing 2 dedicated supports that will release patch after patch for him. While with Saber, these guys aren't getting any designated supports, right? At the end of the day, these guys gotta work with whatever HSR releases for the actual HSR characters, and because of this, you can't really reliably say that they will get like a noticeable increase in their performance going forward. So Saber current performance is a bit underwhelming, right? It is underwhelming. Sad to see for the Saber fans, and I'm genuinely surprised that they went all out for Archer but not Saber, right? It's genuinely crazy to me. And then to add on top of this, Saber's Eidolons are dog shit. Like, both of the Fake collab characters' Eidolons are dog shit, but Saber's are even worse, and her Eidolons don't become good until E6. Yeah, you have to get to E6 before you get a single, like, good value Eidolon. So, unfortunate for the Saber lovers, but I'm sure Saber lovers will continue using her despite her flaws, simply because they love her, right? That's all I have to cover for you guys today. Watch Nagatoro's peak. Watch Roshidere. Alia and Yuki is peak. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you have a great night. And watch Konosuba. Peace.